Hi there, Keegan from the New Engineering Blog here. Big update. Mostly because I've not done one in a while, but also just because there's big news, really. I'm in Pi Wars. I was accepted, and yeah, MacFeegle Prime is going to war. Lots of updates. Like I said, no idea what I said in the last video, and yeah, it's not like there's a permanent record that would let me go back and see it either. So lost to the mists of time. I've been busy, so I think the last video you showed, the robot was using this chassis, 3D printed, with space at the front for the idler wheels from the front of the robot, space for the battery in there, lots of standoffs for standing off of the things, and yeah, the motor mounts weren't strong enough. There's a reason none of them are actually sat on there at the minute, because they all snapped off as soon as any actual weight got into it. Oops, spoilers. So yeah, basically I rebuilt it. So here is the current incarnation of MacFeegle Prime as of now, technically. What have we got? So we have Raspberry Pi with the motor shield sat up front. We have the two buck converters here for 5 volts and 7 volts, I think it is, for the motors. Motors at the back, as was. Batteries at the front. There's actually it's actually 3S2P at the minute, just because I've got 2 of these stacked. The Arduino and the motor shield has been shifted to the back, and power switch is there. Oh yeah, there's also the chunky buck converter at the front for the servos for all of the arms, well, both the arms and all of your servos. Yeah, I'm not using that at the minute, but I just want to make sure I'm getting everything in place, because the last thing I want is to, oh yeah, it's all brilliant, look it out, it's all in place, and then, oh, I don't have room for that. This is entirely hot glued together, by the way, so you might just be able to see under there, the motor mounts there are 3D printed and they're hot glued on. Same with the idlers underneath. It's too early for me to basically commit to drilling holes in this. Those who follow me on Facebook and on Twitter, and there's a hint, this chunk of metal is actually 6mm aluminium plate. It's taken from a batleth I made for one of my friends' weddings. They actually had a USS Enterprise shaped pinata gingerbread cake thing. And yeah, Ron used the batleth I made to smash through it, which is quite good. This bit of alley is actually from the cutout, the main big cutout from it, which is quite cool. I like the idea that one of the most fearsome breeds of warrior on the disc is Foundation is held in Klingon weaponry, because I just like stories, really. So yeah, this is actually currently powered, so all of the power supplies and everything are working. I have a real VNC over here. Code will all be released and whatnot once it's actually working. But yeah. So yeah, it's using the analog sticks from this Bluetooth gamepad. So yeah, you can press forward on both, back on both, and you can rotate. That wasn't actually on screen. So yeah, it works, basically. It works insofar as the tracks move and it can go forwards and backwards. As soon as you put it on the ground, I think it's basically too heavy for these little motors to run, basically, because that weighs absolutely nothing, and I'd be hesitant to hold this with anything less than my entire hand. Fat boy, light as a feather, comparatively speaking. So this isn't really a surprise. But yeah, I think I'm gonna, well, not bite the bullet per se. I'm gonna get some proper motors and little gearboxes. The reason I used these to start with was because, for one thing, I had them. Oh crap! Yeah, when you're dropping something on the floor, make sure it's not on top of a remote control that's live. So, yeah, I think the reason I started with all these components, the motors that is because I had them, and in the run up to applying for Pi Wars, I think more than anything it was like okay, if I can hack something together with the stuff I have lying around, it'll cost me only time, and I'll be able to prove that I can actually do something. So getting the Pi and the control and everything rigged up and proving the idea, I'm now happy to move forward and buy proper chunkier motors, because yeah, this weighs, let's see, actually this weighs slightly more than my Surface Book, and I think they weigh 1.5 kilograms, something like that. So yeah, chunk, definitely a chunk. And yeah, this is before any of the extra body and head and all the rest of the nonsense is added. This is going to be gloriously ridiculous. This really is. So yeah, stay tuned for more updates. I'm going to. My aim now is to get the chassis driving around and design of it mostly solidified by the end of October. I say mostly because it will change. You know, no battle plan survives first contact with the enemy, and I am the enemy. So yeah, I'm going to do something in the future, and no doubt it'll have to change around. But yeah, so what we're going to do, yeah, so this by the end of October. By the end of November, I want at least one of the arms prototyped, and the torso, because it's going to need to be able to sit up and down. And then if I can control a 7 degree of freedom arm, making the head will be trivial, basically. So by the end of 2019, I want the basics of all of the hardware done. It'll still need tweaking. I'll break it, and that's the whole point. You break it in advance of the competition, and it's a better way of doing it. So yeah, hopefully end of 2019, the body will be functional, and I'll be able to see through his eyes and drive around and have the basic sensors and everything on board, which gives me January, February, March to actually work on the software side of things. Obviously, as I'm going, I'll be doing odds and sods here and there. I've already got the basics of motor control working, and you know, even if I swap motors, it'll probably still be the same motor controllers. And if not them, then it'll just be a matter of swapping out for whatever library the new ones works. There's the Pyborg ones, which I think have got up to 5 amps per motor. That might be a more sensible bet. But yeah, that's the way I'm already programming it, is to make it modular. So this shouldn't be too much of that. The basics of control shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, so stay tuned for more updates with MacFeegle Prime, now officially an intermediate Pi Wars competitor for March 2020, and yeah, exciting. It's a competition I've only heard about after the fact, and I'm now one of the competitors, and this is really cool. So stay tuned for more. It'll be more of me just blabbing and not really making any sense, probably repeating myself a couple of times, and I'm going to put this down because honestly it's not the lightest of beasts, which is why it doesn't move around. I will put it down and see if we can actually show you him moving, just to prove the point. Where is it? Oh, there you are. So yeah, it does move under its own steam, but yeah, it can currently turn, and it can only go forwards and backwards. So with the Roomba, I saw that was when it was hitting stall. Well, it was just stalling basically. So the motors just don't have enough power to do the thing you're asking to do it, or it doesn't have enough currents flowing through it, and these are 1.2 amp controllers, so it might be that. But yeah, we'll do some experimenting, and we will see what happens. So subscribe for more, follow me on Twitter, Best bet's actually Facebook, facebook.com/NeveEng, Neaveeeng. I'm always putting up updates and whatnot on there. That's the best place to keep track of this, but I'm going to keep these going because, if nothing else, they're useful for me, even if I don't actually watch them to check what I did last. Do as I say, not as I do. Subscribe, like, all the usual nonsense. Stay tuned for more. Ta-ta for now.